What is going on with all of my people of the planet? Thank you guys so much. Thanks for the applause and thanks for the cheers. I am D Venom. Thank you guys so much for joining me in regard to Raising Vibrations podcast. Thank you guys. I hope all of my people of the planet, especially all of my addicts in the world that are still suffering in silence due to their addictions, are staying on that straight and narrow and doing, yeah, that's right, staying on that straight and narrow and doing everything possible to elude psychic vampires, negative energies, including Podbean, trolls, scallywags, and relapse from one's lives. If we could elude those particular elements at all costs, we have done our own selves, thank you guys, some justice and a huge favor. And with that being said, let's get into Raising Vibrations podcast, starting right now. All right, you guys, as mentioned, I am D Venom. I still have no feathered friends, so, I'm carrying on, pretty much solo, but I am D Venom, and thank you guys for joining me in regard to Raising Vibrations podcast. Any amount of positive energy shown on not just this particular platform, but all of my social media platforms are always welcomed. Anyway, my apologies for not, being behind the microphone. I shouldn't be apologizing about shit, but the things occurred, including relapse, not major relapse like I normally would have, but relapse did occur. Some eye-opening events or a eye-opening event that occurred November the 9th of 2025 this year that changed the game for me and made me throw that methamphetamine pipe in the dumpster the next following day. I'll get into that here momentarily. My family came out to visit me a week before my birthday. You guys know because I foreshadowed that my birthday is on Halloween, and they came out that week prior, and I was relapsing, during that time, and I was an hour and some change late picking up my mom and her fiance from the airport, and I did not know that my eldest sibling and my god sister were the added bonus in regard to my birthday surprise. So I screwed it up, but though I screwed up, in regard to getting to the airport an hour and some change late, we did have a good time. I was happy and thrilled to see my family. And, when they left, it was bittersweet. I didn't cry or anything like that, but I had a moment with myself to think in regard to the value of family and how Satan loves to divide and conquer in regard to families, and he's done this in regard to my family on a couple of occasions. So them coming out here to spend that birthday weekend with me, and even though I fucked up, we still all had a fabulous time. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Anyway, we went to a place called West Side Jazz and Blues in Glendale, Arizona. That place is it's a vibe, people aren't afraid to get on that floor and dance. White people, no rhythm, they don't give a fuck. They on the floor dancing. Okay. It's a vibe. It's the vibe. I don't want to tell too much, but for a good grown sophisticated night, either by yourself or with your friends or whatever, I suggest going to, West Side Blues and Jazz in Glendale, Arizona. That's where myself and my family went. We went there twice. We went there Friday and we went there Saturday. The Friday night that we went, it was old school R&B night, and there was a group there, 2 males and 1 female. Her name is Shay. Oh my God, they performed their asses off. I'm surprised they're not mainstream, but they did a good ass job in regard to performing. And the next night we went, it was like a blues night, and it started off kind of, kind of lame, but it actually picked up quite well. And, the place is a vibe. I would just admit that it's a good vibe. But, anyway, aside from all that, you guys, I'm not going to say I've been going through it in a bad way. I've been totally blessed. I just been busy, just keeping myself occupied, considering the fact that I am now, I believe it's 11 days clean from methamphetamine. So what I want to do is challenge myself and surpass that 140 something day mark that I made before I decide to relapse. And, I'm going to make it up to 200 motherfucking days clean from methamphetamine. Don't get me wrong. I had a thought about it today, and I was about to text somebody to see if they, were still dry, because the last time I hit them up, they were dry. They didn't have anything. That was the universe intervening. But, I withheld and I didn't do it. So I'm proud of myself. The devil's going to tempt me at all costs, but as long as I keep my eyes on the prize, I can't be tempted. Hold on one second, you guys. I need to get something to drink, and I should have done this before I started the episode. 1 second. Hold on. Bear with me, people. I missed that 6:22 time of the recording. Hold on. 6:33 time of the recording. Okay. Sorry about that. But anyway, aside from me getting my life together in a lot of other different, ways, the night of November the 9th really fucked me up. But I also got a new phone. And, with getting a new phone, well, I traded my old Galaxy A71 in for a Moto G. And I started out liking the phone, but I believe it's a Google based phone, and Google is so fucking nosy in regard to your personal information. And along the way, I just started not liking the motherfucking phone. So I ended up, trading that back in, and I had to pay a restocking fee, $20 and whatever else the case may be. But anyway, I ended up getting not an Android, but Samsung. I'm a big, huge Samsung fan. So I got the newest, well, not the newest, but it came out in 2025. So it's fairly new. Samsung, I won't say which one, but I like it. I just have to I have to go through my settings and, set it up like I had my, previous, Samsung, and go from there. But anyway, I'm trying to, like I said, with the new phone, you got to put your passwords in and all of this type of shit. And, everything worked out in regard to Podbean and, whatever else. But when it came to Instagram, oh my motherfucking goodness. Instagram they have a glitch in their system some motherfucking where, because I tried all their methods, and the two of them just did not work. I did not know that my previous phone, now look, I had two Galaxy A71s. Now the primary one that I was using, it fell, or I dropped it, and the screen cracked. So under warranty, they sent me out, pretty much the same motherfucking phone. And, I wanted an upgrade. I did not want that same Galaxy A71. And during that time, prior to that, that's when I had seen what I seen November the 9th. So I wanted to make sure if this happened again, I would have a better phone to get better footage than what the fuck I did, when the shit occurred. But anyway, I'm doing this 2-step authentication for Instagram, and oh my God. But anyway, the SIM card is out of the phone that, ended up falling, and the screen ended up cracking. So I didn't think that I would be able to get into, my accounts or whatever, because there's no active SIM card in that phone. So after excuse me, after so many days of trying to get into my Instagram account, I grabbed that phone and I'm like, look, let me see if I can go and, get into my Instagram account, because Instagram was trying to send me some type of verification to my account, and I couldn't get in the motherfucker. So I figured I would get, that particular phone, see if I can log into my account and go from there. And thank God I was able to do just that. And I seen the verification email or whatever, and I clicked it, verified my account, and bam, it all worked out. So I'm on all of my social media platforms like I was previously, and I'm happy about that, even though it took a hell of a lot of motherfucking work to get to that point. But anyway, I talked about this particular night. I do believe it was last week at this very park, and I knew that my phone needed to be charged, but I had enough juice to, give y'all about 2 hours and some change worth of story. And I completed the story. And, before I knew it, my phone started to, pretty much die out. And, instead of me saving that particular episode and, titling it after I, juiced up my phone, I tried to title it before the phone went dead, and, that didn't work out. So the phone ended up going dead, and I thought that it would have saved, but, by the time I, got some juice in my phone and powered it up and got, went back to, Podbean, that episode was not there. And I was upset because, I put some time and effort into telling y'all the story of what occurred, that particular night. And now I have to do it all over again. But, things happen for a reason. There were some key things that I left out in that, episode that didn't upload that I can now add. So, it is what it is. But, another thing is, with, getting a new phone or whatever, don't expect, you guys, for those episodes. I don't know about the website, but I know via the app, when you record episodes or go live, they were stored in the recording section or whatever. Anyway, when I got my account set up on my new phone and I went to that recording session to see if everything uploaded, I did not see my recordings, and I thought that, they would, pop up sometime soon, and they never did. So I ended up emailing Podbean to find out what the fuck is going on, and come to find out, they don't have any feature to, save your recordings and you export them, import them, whatever the case may be. And so I guess I sparked a idea for them to look into adding that particular feature in the future, so when people get a new phone or whatever and they, log into their accounts, their motherfucking recordings will be there. So yeah, I mean, I'm a little upset about that, but they're still uploaded and they're still on the platform, so that's all that matters. But anyway, yeah, I had to take a break from the microphone after November the 9th. I couldn't do it. The world is a crazy place, for sure. The universe's vibrations are definitely being lowered. Satan definitely owns this motherfucking world, and a lot of people are falling prey to his temptations. And when I seen what I seen, it didn't floor me until later down the line. But it started off gentle and just like any other fuck session. But when it popped off, it popped the fuck off. Okay. Anyway, let me get into the story. So that Saturday the 8th, I went to my primary 12-step meeting, and everything was great. And it had to been that particular day after the meeting, I decided to, seek. And y'all know what I decided to seek, my drug of choice. I wanted methamphetamine, and I already had a pipe, and the pipe was burnt under the bottom. I picked up a scallywag prior to all of this, and we were smoking, what I bought, and some people just don't know how to smoke meth. I mean, sometimes I don't either. But, when you use a regular lighter instead of a torch, I don't blue flame it. A lot of people, just flame the motherfucking meth and it just burns up and whatever else the case may be. So that's how my pipe was, just burnt underneath the bottom. So there was still some in there, there was still some burnt meth up in that motherfucker, to get you a nice little buzz. But anyway, I was, like I said, on a mission to try to find, some G, meth, G is meth in street term. But anyway, I'm riding around and I'm unsuccessful. I text a couple of people, they're dry, and, I'm getting pissed off and I'm getting agitated and I'm starting to get a little anxious, and, I want to get high. And, anyway, I go to this particular area called the Square. I was about to say the Circle. It's called the Square here in Arizona. It's off of Bell and it's off of Cave Creek, and that's all I would say. It's on a corner somewhere, and it's like in a little strip mall section. And back in the days, it was hopping. Plenty of people out there getting high. But now the universe has cleaned it up quite well. There's still people active in that area, but it's not like it used to be. Anyway, I ended up parking my vehicle because I seen, people active in that particular area. And, my intent was to score, and when my intent is real about something and I put that out to the universe is going to grant that. Not all the time, but a great majority of the time, she's going to grant that. And, it never fails when I want, well, it does fail, but, a great majority of the time it doesn't fail when I'm thinking very strong in regard to getting high and, sucking dick and whatever else the case may be. And before I know it, it's granted. Anyway, I asked a couple of people if they, had some shit. They didn't have it, and allegedly they didn't have it. So I ended up going to a different part of the square because I seen, a dude nodding off and shit by this pizza shop. And so, I asked him if he had anything. He didn't have nothing. And somebody else was there too. They both nodding off. Anyway, along the way came this Mexican dude on the bike, and he joined the party, and we were all talking. Well, they were pretty much talking. I was just sitting there, and I had my pipe out because I was trying to work the Mexican dude. I was trying to show him the pipe, and I was doing the like blowjob gesture, putting my tongue on the side of my cheek, and y'all know how we do, when we want to suck some dick. But anyway, that's what I was doing, and after a while, he made fun of me because, I guess when I'm high, my eyes are already large as it is, but I guess when I'm geeking and tweaking, I guess it really shows. And, I guess they pop out like Wendy Williams, and, they were all laughing about that, but mainly the Mexican, he got it popped off. And, after a while, he ended up apologizing, which I accepted it, and like I told him, I don't really give too much power to humans like that. So, but he wanted to clean my pipe because, like I said, it was dirty underneath the bottom. And, I get skeptical about shit like that because motherfuckers in the drug game, especially the meth world, they will light your shit up and liquefy it, turn the pipe upside down so that little hole in the pipe, basically, basically the meth will seep out of that hole and either get on your hands or your pants or wherever it lands, it's going to dry up, and then you can scrape it off for later and smoke it. And that's what a lot of people do in the meth world. And I thought that, he was going to be sneaky in some form. And, anyway, as he's cleaning the pipe with his, I think it was a razor blade or something like that, I'm getting agitated because I wanted my pipe back. And, during that time, the people that were there, they were, smoking their shit. And, he ended up giving me my pipe back. And, he said a couple of choice words because he got mad because I didn't trust him, to clean it. And so the person that was smoking ended up giving him, their pipe and, whatever the case may be, but they ended up sharing with me too along the way. But, anyway, that particular night, I'm trying to think of what else happened. I know that I stood around there for a while. The Mexican ended up leaving, and I think the main dude that was there, I think he ended up staying. The other dude ended up, people just started parting ways, and I pretty much did the same thing after a while. And I think that I ended up calling it a night. It was the following day. I'm trying to think. I know that I continued the party. I'm trying to think of what I was doing during the daytime before I ventured into what I seen. I do believe that I was still getting high from the burnt residue from the pipe. And well, I can't say that I was getting high. I mean, I was trying to get high from the burnt residue from the pipe or whatever. It wasn't affecting me like, like it would if I was getting, a big full blast or a big full hit or whatever. Anyway, I do think that it was somewhere around daytime, more going towards the evening. I was venturing out looking for, scallywags or people that I can get shit from, because I think that I continued to seek methamphetamine the next day. And once again, it was dry and, I couldn't find shit. So anyway, I pulled up into a Circle K. Circle K's and Quick Trips are known for having scallywags hanging out there. Anyway, I pulled up into the Circle K, and I'm, parked at the pump, just, checking out the scene. And I see a couple of people. So I leave from the pump and I move over to where those people are. And, I see two dudes talking, and I noticed that, one of the dudes is the Mexican from, the previous night, at the square that I was telling you about, the one that was talking about me or whatever. He was there, and, I quickly rolled down my window and I was like, hey, but he didn't hear me. But his, I guess friend, I don't know who the fuck he was talking to, but they heard me and they started walking towards the car, and I'm like, no, not you, the Mexican. And so he told the Mexican that I wanted to, talk to him. So he was walking towards the car, and I'm like, you don't remember me? He was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. So he got in, we were talking, and I'm just like, basically where the shit at. So he didn't have it on him. He asked a couple of people at the Circle K, they didn't have it either. So that's when we went venturing, looking for methamphetamine, and we rode to different places and whatever else, and nobody had nothing. Once again, that was the universe intervening. But nobody had anything. And I remember after a while, myself and the Mexican ended up parking on a side street in front of these apartment complexes. And they got out the car and asked some people that smoke in this particular area where this car shop is. They didn't have nothing either. So he was nodding off and whatever else the case may be, and I'm talking and shit, and anyway, we got into a conversation about life, life before drugs. And it's very interesting how Source puts me in situations where I'm doing wrong, but it's kind of hard to explain. I'm doing wrong, but at the same time, I'm doing right because I'm serving in a therapeutic type of way, because these people need individuals to talk to. These people are broken. I am too, but I'm strong enough to be broken, but also help other individuals. Anyway, we started talking about life, and, it's quite interesting. Some of the scallywags that I pick up, some I sleep with, some I don't. And we end up having, very good conversations with each other, and they come from good backgrounds. This Mexican had a good background. I think he said he was married, maybe has some kids, and was a borderline famous tattoo artists. From what I've seen, they do pretty good work because they have tattoos, and I guess they, done some of their work, and other individuals, may have completed it or, whatever else. But, they had a lucrative job and, just a good life. And all of a sudden, Satan came along and, threw that temptation at them. I do believe they said that someone passed away, maybe their mother. And, that was pretty much their downward spiral. And, methamphetamine came into the picture, and then fentanyl and whatever else they decide to, indulge in. But, that was pretty much their life. And, we started talking about me, and, I can't really recall what the conversation was about, but no. We were talking about me standing out. Once again, he apologized in regard to, making fun of me or whatever, because after a while he realized that I'm not that person, in regard to, the people that he normally would deal with on the streets. You know what I'm saying? I'm a cool, calm, collective individual. Yes, I'm an addict, but I don't have that demeanor like a lot of those individuals that he deal with, and he knew that he can open up to me and talk to me about some stuff. And he kept on, telling me how I stood out, I guess basically in the streets, you're not supposed to look around in regard to, police and stuff like that. You're supposed to just blend in and I guess just smoke dope and not give a fuck. I mean, my thing is how the fuck can you blend in with people smoking motherfucking methamphetamine and fentanyl or whatever the case may be, and blowing that shit into the air? I mean, people can see you doing that. I mean, you're not trying to be discreet. And, like I was telling him, I have a lot to lose. I have a job, and thank God they didn't drug test my ass, but I have a job and whatever else the case may be. And, I said something about this, this is not me. And, they, 26 time of this recording. And they agreed. They was like, you know what, bro, this ain't you. And, that sparked something in me, and he said it a couple of times, and it sparked something in me. This person who is pretty much fucked up, not enough, and whatever else the case may be, they can see the potential in me, and they can see that this life that I'm trying to make mine is not me. And, that kind of made me straighten up and get my shit together as well. But like I said, it wasn't until after the Mexican parted ways from me. I should have just went home, but something told me to try again, just try one more time to see if you can score. I'm riding around playing all this secular music. Sugar Walls from Sheena Easton was one of the songs that I was singing, and boy, with them, I ran into some sugar walls, all right. But anyway, all of this was symbolic to what I was about to run into, or run into. But anyway, I go to a Quick Trip. And nothing was happening. So I ended up, coming back towards my apartment because the Quick Trip that I went to was in a different side of town. Well, I can't say a different side of town, but it's still on this side of town, but it's just, how can I say it? It's not close to me, my residence. But anyway, after leaving that Quick Trip, I decided to, go a little closer to home to, some of the gas stations or whatever in that area. And I usually go a particular way when I get at a certain area looking for scallywags and whatever else. But something told me to turn left this time instead of turning right. And I turned left and I started driving down this street. I'm not going to say the name of the street, but I started driving down the street and I see a Circle K on the corner. And there's this big, there's this big building across the street, obviously a place of establishment. I did not see the name of this particular place of establishment at first. So I just noticed that, there was, some trees around it and like a little short wall and whatever else the case may be. And there was some glass windows. Anyway, there was a white Nissan I think it was a Rogue. I didn't know that it was a Nissan until the police came there. Well, just hold on. I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, it was parked on one of the end pumps, and there was the driver was standing outside of the car. His car door was open, and he was facing that place of establishment. And I believe he had an orange shirt on and maybe some child. I think but anyway, he was facing that place of establishment, and he would get out the car on an intermittent basis. Before I pulled into the Circle K, I'm hearing this noise, and I'm thinking that it's like an owl or a dove or a pigeon, something. And like I said, on an intermittent basis, you would just hear this, and I mean, it was loud as fuck. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? So I ended up pulling into the Circle K, and I pulled on the opposite side on the end pump. And I'm just sitting there, I'm just checking out the scene. And, like I said, on an intermittent basis, this moaning, I didn't know it was moaning, but this bird sound or whatever, it would, it would happen. And then every now and then you would hear the sounds of a male voice. And I'm just like, wait a minute. Something is not right. The Mexicans aren't going no motherfucking where. And random people are just walking, in the parking lot and stuff like that. More walking towards the noise, but playing it off like they're going to the, Circle K or, going to the other stores in the area. And, I'm just like, what the fuck is really going on? So I ended up leaving that end pump, and I tried to find out where this moaning was coming from, because at this point I'm intrigued, and I'm just like, something is going on. And I smelt it, I smelled sex. I just smelt it. And I knew by those Mexicans not going anywhere that that noise attracted them. And I just knew that some ratchetness was going on. So the moaning kept going on an intermittent basis. And as it's going on, I'm trying to drive towards the noise. And I'm circling that parking lot and all type of shit. And I just cannot find out where this noise is coming from. So I ended up parking almost by the Circle K, but it's kind of hard to explain. But I was facing that place of establishment, and I kept my eyes on the Mexicans. And it was a car full of Mexicans, to be quite frank with you. But the driver kept getting out the car the most, and then the one on the passenger side, he would get out every now and then. Anyway. I'm looking at the windows of this place of establishment, because like I said, they're all, clear glass windows, and I'm looking at it, and all of a sudden I'm seeing this up and down movement, at a slow pace, just going up and down. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this shit? So my eyes, I'm blinded in the back, even with my damn glasses on. And at that particular time, I had no eye drops, and, my eyes dry and all type of shit. And I will admit, that I did that, smoked that little bit of methamphetamine, or the residue, before going to this particular area. So I'm thinking that, okay, maybe I did slip into a little psychosis and whatever, and maybe I'm just envisioning what I envisioned back in my Vegas days, which I'll get into, a little later. And I was just doubting myself, and I was just doubting my intuition. I was just doubting everything, and I was just blaming it on, those few hits of methamphetamine or whatever. But I'm just like, this obviously is real, because that's a real person moaning, and that's a real male voice. And so I stopped doubting myself, and I kept my eyes on that motherfucking on the windows of this place of establishment, and I'm still seeing this up and down moving, at a slow pace. And then I decided, my eyes finally focused, and I see clear as day a whole motherfucking vagina lips wrapped around this big ass motherfucking dick, just slowly going up and down. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. So I start my car up, and I go right back in that Circle K's parking lot. And instead of sitting at the end pump, I go like more towards the middle, and I park my car facing that place of establishment. So I'm looking at the windows of this place of establishment, and obviously whoever were performing had a projector, and they were projecting themselves on Walgreens property, and mainly the windows. And you can see the individuals. The guy was bald head, or he is bald headed. He has distinctive tattoos, on his head and on the side of his body, like leading down his leg or whatever. It kind of reminds you of Tiger Stripes. She, I think, is blonde, and I think her hair is shoulder length or whatever. I really wasn't paying attention to her. I was more paying attention to him. And that's another thing. Before I pulled up to that particular pump, to see what was going on at that place of establishment, when I was parked at that one spot, before going to the pump, across the street from this place of establishment are apartment buildings, and people, I seen red dots. And any other time, red dots are associated with my psychosis or whatever the case may be. But like I told y'all, the methamphetamine was not strong enough to put me under psychosis. And I knew that people were recording something, and all of a sudden there were at least about 5 or 6 flashes, camera flashes. And once again, I'm thinking this has to do with me and my psychosis or whatever. I'm just like, maybe they're taking pictures of me or whatever. And I'm bringing in this, y'all know when I get under the influence of methamphetamine, I put out those energies like I'm being followed and whatever else the case may be. And, people are recording me and yada, yada, yada. And I'm just like, that's what I was thinking. But then I started fighting against that. I'm just like, no, this is some real motherfucking shit. You pulled up to somebody fucking or whatever the case may be. The same motherfucking shit that caught your attention is the same shit that caught the motherfucking Mexicans' attention. And obviously they were being loud like that because they wanted to, they wanted the attention. They wanted that validation. Anyway, they kept, when I tell y'all Walgreens windows had all type of angles of dick and coochie, baby and child, after a while, people that started peeping game, when I tell y'all people were coming out of the apartment, going across the street, looking at this place of establishment with their cell phones. People were literally trying to record footage, and people were recording footage. There were more women that were crossing the street from that from the apartment complex across the street from this place of establishment to get footage than men. But there were all walks of life. There were all walks of life. Pretty much walking past this place of establishment and capturing footage. And just like, I don't know if it was coming from that place of establishment or what, but obviously when shit started getting heated in regard to the activities amongst the male and the female, that couldn't have been them operating that projector. Somebody else had to have been doing that, because the way that he was fucking her was, I'll get into that here momentarily. So anyway, I'm sitting at that pump and I'm looking at Walgreens windows, and I'm looking at, the people walking, the people leaving their apartments or whatever, having the people's body language alone let me know that this was going down. And, anyway, there were vehicles that were in this place of establishment's parking lot, riding around the building, I guess trying to see what was going on. And it got to the point, okay, well, hold on, I had to get to the police part. So anyway, I'm sitting at the pump and I'm looking at, this coochie riding this dick, and I got a glimpse of the dude's dick, and it was a big, or it is a big ass motherfucking dick. The only thing I can say is baseball sized dick, baseball horse sized dick. And that's, I'm not lying, you guys. And I think that he showed what he had, and that's when them people across the street started taking them pictures or whatever. Something happened to where they took how can I say it? Something occurred to where they took the motherfucking pictures, and I believe that he was showing, how big his dick is. The motherfucking dick is big than a motherfucker. And, anyway, I'm recording, and all of a sudden, I see the police turn into the Circle K's parking lot, and they had their flashlight or whatever on me. And I'm like, oh my God. And mind y'all, I had the methamphetamine pipe on me and some of every motherfucking thing else. And I'm just like, I'm going to jail. Remember, I got pulled over January 18th of 2024 for methamphetamine. And, if I get pulled over again, I'm going to prison. And I didn't tell y'all this, but I had an episode in regard to relapse, and I ended up in Peoria / Surprise, Arizona high, and chasing people down because y'all, anyway, y'all know I pull in them negative energies, and cars be on my ass and whatever else the case may be. So I flipped the script and I was on these cars' ass, and my mind just wasn't there. I ended up in Surprise / Peoria, not Illinois, but Arizona, and anyway, I ended up on the wrong side of the road. Somewhere, I think in Surprise or Peoria, and this truck, was like, hey, you're driving on the wrong side of the road. And I hurried up and got my ass on the right side of the road. And, thank God Peoria and Surprise are dead at a certain point at night. There's nothing going on. And thank God the police were not patrolling. And thank God the universe was on my side that particular night, because I would not be on this podcast right now. I would be in prison for real. But anyway, Getting back on point. So the police, pulled into the parking lot, and they had then, that flashlight thing all up, in my face. And so I did not know that the clerk from the Circle K, I knew that he was outside. He was outside cleaning up and shit. He was mainly keeping his eyes on the Mexicans, because obviously they were there for a long motherfucking time. So what was going on between the couple obviously was going on for a minute, because, for him to call the police on the Mexicans, they were camping out there. And now that I think about it, the Mexican that was standing at the driver, he was recording. That's what he was doing. That's why he kept getting in and out the car or whatever, because just like me, he was recording, just like me and some of everybody else that, knew what was going on. He was recording the action. So anyway, clerk or whatever from the Circle K was like, no, not this Nissan, because the police, they was like, is this the Nissan that you're talking about? And he was like, no, not this Nissan, the white Nissan at the end pump down there. And so that drew the attention off me, and I'm just like, oh, thank you, Jesus. So I had time to throw the pipe away or whatever the case may be, but I didn't do that. My less than smart ass, put the pipe underneath the car, put the pipe here, put the pipe there. I put the pipe everywhere except the motherfucking garbage. And I ended up putting it, I'm not gonna lie, I ended up putting the pipe in between my booty cheeks. And baby, from the daytime to the nighttime, my booty cheeks was not fresh at all, I promise you. But I put that pipe right between my motherfucking booty cheeks, and I stayed right at that motherfucking pump. And I seen them talking to the Mexicans or whatever. And I seen them handcuff the driver, and I seen them handcuff the passenger, and I think there were a couple of other people in the back, and I'm not sure what they were doing in the car prior to the police getting there. They could have been doing methamphetamine, or they could have been in there fucking and sucking, because I promise y'all, when my eyes zeroed in on what was happening, I busted a nut. I'm not lying to y'all. I didn't touch myself. I didn't do any of that. I just watched what was going on, and it literally turned me the fuck on. And I came, and sitting right at that motherfucking gas pump, baby. I came all up in my panties, in my boy panties. It was that motherfucking erotic. At this point in time, it was erotic and whatever else, because she was riding the dick slow, and it wasn't like it was later down the line. Anyway, I see the police, arresting, the Mexicans or whatever, and obviously they allowed them to make a phone call. And some people that knew the Mexicans that were getting arrested ended up pulling up, and it could have been the parents of, maybe one or two of the Mexicans, but, before I knew it, I seen the police searching their damn car, and I'm just like, okay, it's time for you to get the fuck out of Dodge, because before I knew it, before you know it, they gonna end up, wanting to search your motherfucking vehicle. So, while they were searching, I guess the parents of, one of the Mexicans or whatever the case may be, I broke camp and I made sure to stay in that motherfucking area. I can tell you that. And, I just drove around, making sure that the police, slowly but surely were departing. And eventually there were no more cops in the Circle K's parking lot. And I, parked my vehicle right back at the gas pump. And, no, I didn't. I parked it on the side of Circle K, and I was watching what was going on, watching and recording what was going on the sideline. Anyway, the clerk from Circle K came out, and we made eye contact, and he was probably wondering to himself, why the fuck is this person that was at the pump now is on the sideline of the Circle K, still looking at that place of establishment or whatever. He probably, I'm pretty sure he was trying to peep out what was going on with me. And, we got into a conversation with each other, and we were talking about the Mexicans. And, I'm like, the Mexicans were, I'm like, the Mexicans were at that pump because people across the street are fucking. And I showed him the footage of the pussy lips wrapped around a big ass dick displayed on, I was about to say the name of the establishment. I'm going to say it anyway, but displayed on this place of establishment's windows. And so he was like, oh, and I'm like, exactly. So anyway, his co-workers, came later down the line, and I guess he told his co-workers what was going on. And one of his co-workers, I don't know if she was supposed to be working or not, but that child, she went across that damn street somewhere and disappeared. So I don't know if she was recording content or what, but people started getting a whiff of what was going on across the street at that place of establishment. And I'm recording people, mind you. I mean, I'm recording people looking at this place of establishment, just like I was. And there was one point where a dude, I think he had a red hat on and a red sweater or whatever. He came out of the Circle K, and I recorded him. He stood there for a long time, looking at that place of establishment windows, and then he, creeped across the street. The funny thing is, the people that knew what was going on, it was almost like a secretive society for some reason. We knew what was happening. We knew people were fucking and displaying that, and whatever the case may be, but nobody said anything like, y'all, these motherfuckers are a trip. Y'all see that motherfucking shit? No one said anything. No one said a motherfucking thing. There was a point where I made eye contact with some people, and we gave each other like a little cricket smile, like yeah, bitch, you see that just like I see it. But anyway, I'm still watching everything, and at this particular point, the police started popping up. And when I say squad car after squad car after squad car was pulling up, basically, getting a look at this place of establishment's windows or whatever. And then there was one point where a police officer went into the parking lot of this place of establishment, went around to the opposite side of this place of establishment where there's a drive-through thing at, and they sat there for a grip, and I recorded them. I recorded them right across the street at that place of establishment in their parking lot. Basically viewing what everybody else was viewing, that was peeping game. So that let me know right there that whatever is going on is some real motherfucking shit, because people are starting to get tuned into it. Anyway, I ended up, once that police officer left, I ended up leaving the pump, and I went across the street to that place of establishment because I wanted to see what those cars were pulling in the parking lot to get a glimpse of. So anyway, I drive around to because the whole time I'm thinking that, like I said, there was like a little wall, and then there was some trees going around this place of establishment. So I thought that the individuals that were fucking were, somewhere in the bushes or whatever the case may be, because when people were walking past that place of establishment, establishment, they were looking in that area. So I thought that people were right there. But then when I seen the cops and stuff and other vehicles, circling, in the parking lot of this place of establishment, and when I seen the police, just sitting there by the drive-through area, I didn't know it was a drive-through area until I, went in the parking lot myself. But anyway, that particular drive-through area, the windows, not the windows, but the blinds were, partially pulled up. And now any other time, a place of establishment such as, the place that I'm talking about, they would have that window all the way, not window, but they would have them blinds all the way down because, you'll be able to see in there and shit. You may see some stuff that is how can I say it? Privacy reasons, that those blinds should have been all the way down. But anyway, I feel like the police officer that was sitting there for a long time was looking through the window or whatever, and was watching something. So anyway, I'm still not knowing what this place of establishment is because it's dark, you know what I'm saying? And so anyway, what did I do? I think I went back across the street, and at this particular point, the sun is starting to come up. I mean, I stayed in that area for a long motherfucking time. So the sun started coming up and shit. And I'm trying to think at what point did the love making, the love making turn into some animalistic, sadistic, hardcore. It wasn't even fucking. I can't even say it was animalistic because I've seen some lions fucking is mild compared to the way that this motherfucking dude was fucking this damn girl. I promise y'all, he was banging the shit out of this damn girl, and it was fast as fuck. And that's the thing that was also tripping me out. Now picture somebody twerking, they booty cheeks just going all extra fast to the, the rhythm or whatever the case may be. That's how this person's booty cheeks were. I mean, they're just going extra fast, just, pumping in and out. And then it would come to a point where you just literally see them just slamming the dick in this bitch. And mind you, the dick is big. So they were taking long motherfucking strokes in and out that bitch pussy. And when I say they were slamming in that, they were slamming. And so whoever was utilizing that projector, it wasn't them because he was too busy fucking her, and he was fucking her extra fast, extra hard. It couldn't have been them zooming in and getting certain facial expressions and whatever else. He looked human in the beginning. But when he was fucking her vigorously the way that he was, and whoever zoomed in on his face, he looked like a straight demon. I promise you guys, he did not look like the person, with the tattoos on this. He did not look like that bald-headed person, in the beginning before all of this hardcore, sadistic, just animalistic, just more rape. I mean, I don't know what to call it. I just know that it was hardcore fat. I mean, it was so motherfucking hardcore and fast and brutal to the point where, okay, now, like I said, his facial expression, he looked very, very, very demonic. I'm not sure if he had a mask on his head at this particular point or what, but he just looked he just looked possessed. And she didn't look no better. Her mouth was wide the fuck open, like she was either going through pleasure or pain, maybe a little bit of both at the same time. I believe that this bitch was going through a lot of motherfucking pain because this bitch was taking a huge ass motherfucking dick, and he was not fucking her mild. He was not fucking her. He was brutally fucking this girl, and I'm turned on by it. I'm looking at it and shit like that. And it's almost like deja vu. I was like, I've seen this before. It's like this scene has played out in my mind before. And it didn't dawn on me the way that he was, fucking her or whatever is the same way that, how can I say it? Now, when I was living in Las Vegas, you know, I told you guys that I stayed in a building full of exhibitionists and swingers and shit. I lived at 6149 West Oakey Boulevard, apartment C on the top level. My neighbors next door to me on the top level, they were swingers. The neighbors below them were swingers and or exhibitionists, and the neighbors next door to them, you know, the next door to them were swingers. Those are the individuals that woke me up fucking and moaning one morning. But anyway, but before I called the police on my downstairs neighbors during that time, you know, because I was going through psychosis, I never got a glimpse at their sex acts. I would hear what was going on, but I never got a chance to really see anything. I was the oddball in the picture, because I remember, and this lets you know that energy is real and my light is real. And they sensed that, you know, because one day I took out the garbage and my then upstairs neighbor, the female, she was talking to some company. They were in a car, and I don't know if they were getting ready to leave or they were, you know, just now, you know, pulling in. I don't know what the fuck was going on. I just know that I walked around the corner with garbage in my hand and with a garbage bag in my hand, full of garbage. And she said something about the upstairs neighbor being weird, and obviously they said who, and she says, paraphrasing, the person with something about my eye, you know, about my lazy eye or my detached retina, and I knew automatically it was about me. And, you know, she went on to say a couple of other choice words until she realized who I was. And then, you know, she kind of toned it down a little bit. And, you know, not now that I think about it back, you know, I thought about it, you know, back then, you know, but I'm really thinking about it now, considering the fact that I'm walking the spiritual path. I know who I am as the chosen one. I know how my light can interrupt, certain things. And it was very dark before I moved in there, and I brought all of that light into the situation, and they didn't like that. You know, I'm dealing with demonic spirits, you know, and these demonic spirits sense that I am dealing with divine energies, and they didn't want that divine energy to be a part of their ratchetness. Anyway, I wanted so badly to see what was going on in those apartments, because when I would look out of my blinds, people would have their blinds. I mean, they would have them blinds open, okay, looking at them fucking and shit. There would be cars riding down the motherfucking street, honking their horns and shit. Cars would literally pull over in front of our building and just sit there, and it would mostly be men. So I knew that some shit was going down in regards to them exposing themselves on the patios and shit. So I mean, when I say exhibitionists, I mean exhibitionists. Fucking on the patios, pussy spread on. I mean, just all over the motherfucking place. But anyway, there were times when I joined them in my own little way. I wanted them to know that I'm down, you know, I want to be a part of the club and whatever else. So I exposed myself on a couple of occasions. I'm more of a voyeur, but I became more of the exhibitionist at that time. And I would crack my door open and I would masturbate, and I'm pretty sure people would see. Well, not everybody. The apartment that was right next to our building, I'm pretty sure they seen what I was doing. I busted out on the porch and some of every motherfucking thing. I, you know, had my little, not little, but I had it sticking out the door, and I did what I did, and I wanted to be initiated into the club, and you know, and with methamphetamine, there was a lot of porn watching and a lot of masturbation and some of everything else. So one day I was in the bathroom and I thought that the upstairs neighbor's man or husband or whatever was in the bathroom masturbating. And I don't know if I was masturbating along with him or not, but I remember talking like, you know, yeah, jack that dick, blah, 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 blah. And I kept hearing this laughter, and it was him and her laughing at me because our showers, you know, basically aligned, and, you know, they obviously, had their ears on the shower walls or whatever, listening to me pretty much talking to myself, either way it goes, they heard me and they were laughing or whatever else the case may be. So I'm not sure what happened after that, but I was going through, a little psychosis or whatever. But, anyway, I remember that I don't know if I was masturbating. I don't know, but I know that I felt like they were teasing me in regard to a specific way that I allegedly was masturbating. Very rhythmic, but a very specific rhythm. And I would hear this rhythm. We all have fireplaces, so I would hear it through the fireplace, walls or whatever. I would just hear this certain noise that I thought they were, making fun of me, in regard to masturbation, because, I'm telling you, my intent was so real in regard to seeing what was going on in regard to their sex acts. I literally cried in the living room of 6149 West Oakey Boulevard, Apartment C in motherfucking Las Vegas. Shit, not even a block from Maryland motherfucking Parkway. I cried in that motherfucking living room because everybody got a chance to be a part of the shenanigans, and I was left out. And it kind of reminded me of school, or my childhood, when everyone would, be picked to play soccer or basketball or something like that. Even though I wasn't into sports, I had to play the shit anyway, because I was, it was a part of PE. But, I was the last to get picked and shit. And it felt like that, it just felt like, I was left out of the party, and I was very emotional about that shit. And anyway, and not to mention, there is a psychiatric hospital across from those apartment complexes, which is Newport Cove apartments. There's a psychiatric hospital across the street, and I believe that they were fucking and sucking too, some of the workers, because there was a door that you would have, you had to, how can I say it? You had to use some type of, not vehicle, but like one of those golf cart things or whatever to open it up. And on an intermittent basis, more towards the night, that door would open up and it would stay open. And I think further in the back somewhere, somebody was fucking, because they obviously seen what my neighbors were doing. I mean, if cars were pulling over and watching all of this bullshit, why wouldn't the motherfucking people in the psychiatric house? They seen it, because I literally seen people standing in the windows looking at these motherfuckers performing. So I believe what was happening, because I kept my eyes on a psychiatric hospital, because I knew that they were watching my neighbors doing what they were doing. I believe that they had some of them patients fucking. I honestly do. I believe that some of the workers were fucking, and I believe that they were making some of them patients fuck. And, I'm telling you, it went down in that motherfucking apartment complex. It wasn't just my building that was swinging. It was, quite a few people that was in there trading off and whatever the case may be. But anyway, and this, the whole teasing thing went on for a while, and then I got to the point where I got sick of it, and I ended up calling the police on them one time, and the police came out or whatever the case may be, and I addressed them and I told them what was happening. And I heard the downstairs neighbors, after they left my apartment, they went downstairs to talk to the downstairs neighbors, and I heard one of them say something about me being crazy or some shit like that. And I'm trying to think about what happened after that. Anyway, I know that after that they didn't like my ass. There was a couple of occasions where I ran into them, like maybe coming home from, wherever I was coming home from or whatever, getting mail, whatever the case may be. And, we would see each other and they would say hi, but it would be a very dry hi. And the look on their faces was, oh my God, if looks can kill, I would not be on this podcast right now. But, anyway, I did not know that they were getting ready to move out after the second time I called the police on them, because I really honestly thought that they were, trying to make fun of me type scenario. So, of course, after I called the police on them the first time, they were not going to let me in on any motherfucking thing in regards to their sexcapades. But anyway, they ended up moving out. One day, I think I went to the food pantry or something, and I just seen the windows bare, and I seen a whole bunch of boxes like squared in the living room of that apartment. And, obviously because of me, they ended up moving out, but the other neighbors, they stayed behind. But my intent was so real in regard to visualizing what could have been going on next. I mean, in those apartments, and to mention, I teamed up with Satan on a couple of occasions in sexual ways or the non. And, I held someone captive in my apartment in Vegas at knife point. I still had the motherfucking knife, big ass motherfucking butcher knife. And I, sliced his forehead up a couple of times, under the influence of methamphetamine. But, I teamed up with Satan on quite a few occasions. But anyway, Bobby Brown was talking about having sex with spirits, and people thought he was out of his motherfucking mind when he said that he had sex with a spirit or spirits. This is true. Spirits, what the fuck you think, incubus and succubus is? They are sexual demons that pretty much, sit on your chest and basically, basically they sit on your chest and make it feel like you can't breathe type scenario. And that's where the wet dreams come from, incubus and succubus, they're finding you and fucking you and some of everything else. These spirits are real, and they horny and they want to fuck. I can say that Satan and I had some sexual relations. I wanted him to penetrate me, and I wanted to know how big his dick is and whatever else the case. I'm not lying to y'all. Under the influence of methamphetamine, I am very raunchy, very, very nasty, very perverted. Shit that you wouldn't even think of would form in this motherfucking brain under the influence of methamphetamine. The shit that I had men do with the motherfucking dicks and shit under the influence of motherfucking methamphetamine, baby, good night. Anyway, what was that? Oh my God. So anyway, the neighbors. So my intent was real in regard to, seeing their sex acts or whatever the case may be. But anyway, there was another point that I was getting at. It was about the neighbors watching their sex acts. And damn, where was I going? But anyway, so, no, it was Satan. So anyway, I never fucked vagina before. I've licked it and I fingered it, but I never penetrated it before. And when I get under the influence of methamphetamine, I like to watch straight porn. I love to see that they going in and out the pussy or coochie or whatever y'all want to call it. Love tunnel, whatever, love contraption, whatever, whatever y'all want to call it these days, the power of the coochie. That's what I like to see. But anyways, in slow motion, up close and all that shit. But anyway, as I asked Satan on a couple of occasions, what does it feel like? Blah, 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 blah. I even was perverted and asked God a couple of, perverted ass questions. But, anyway, I'm just like, what does it feel like? How do you like to fuck it? Blah, blah, blah. I promise you guys, I was already sitting in with my legs crossed, and my penis was like, how can I say? My legs were crossed, but my penis was in between the cross portion of my legs. And I'm high and I'm talking to Satan. I'm asking him to, show me what, coochie feels like or whatever. My legs actually moved and contorted and, basically squeezed around, my penis, and my body started jerking, basically jerking to the point where my penis was moving in and out of my legs, not in and out of my legs, but moving in and out between my thighs, just like I'm in the pussy. And I swear to God, this happened on, I do know that it happened on that one occasion. I was in the motherfucking living room, and I will say that I was penetrated by Satan. He wasn't as vigorous as what I seen. This dude fucking this damn girl, but I was on my back on a couple of occasions, and there was pressure in regard to my anus. Like something was going inside, and I was on my side on a couple of occasions when I asked Satan to fuck me, and there was pressure in my anus area, and it felt like something was going in and out of me, and and you see why I was dealing with all them negative energies. I had literally asked Satan to be inside of my ass, but any motherfucking way. I asked Satan on a couple of occasions, how do he like to fuck, vagina, pussy, whatever the case may be. How did he like to, how did he like his dick, in it? And he showed me exactly how he likes to do it. And this is where I say I have something to do with what I seen on the 9th of November, because nobody in this motherfucking world was thinking any type of sadistic type of acts. I am the only motherfucking one in this world that was thinking the way that I was thinking and calling upon Satan to show me how he fucked pussy. Anyway, the way that he was doing it, like I said, it was, you just imagine someone twerking, their booty cheeks just bouncing up and down, but very vigorously and very hardcore and just brutal. This is what I envision when I would go through a psychosis. After Satan showed me this is how he liked to, handle coochie or whatever the case may be, every time I would go into a psychosis, I would envision this entity on top of this female, or however he had this female, and they were fucking them in that particular style with the booty cheeks just going up and down, and like in a twerking fashion, and brutally just taking advantage of whoever they were fucking. And that's what I envision in regard to my neighbors and whatever else the case may be. So anyway, to see what I seen in regard to the couple that were pretty much putting themselves on Walgreens windows or whatever, it tripped me out, because I'm just like, this is a part of my motherfucking psychosis. No, I mean, people knew that I was going through methamphetamine addiction, during that time, but they did not know what I was going through in regard to my psychosis, because I never talked to people in regard to my psychosis. I even see, till this day, in regard to 12-step meetings, people do not talk about their psychosis. They don't talk about them demonic entities, and some people do. One person do express the entities and stuff that, they dealt with under psychosis of methamphetamine or whatever, but people don't talk about that because it's some real shit, and people can think that is fake all day long, but that's some real motherfucking shit. But anyway, to see this person fucking this woman the way that they were fucking this woman, the same motherfucking way that this was years ago in Vegas when these thoughts came about. And my thing is how cool, how ironic. I'm on my way home, after, myself and the scallywag part ways. I decide one more time to see if I can score methamphetamine. And instead of going my normal route, I ended up going a different route. And it just so happened I pull up at this 7-Eleven right during the time when somebody is fucking and sucking or whatever the case may be. And, I know for sure that Satan lured me to that particular moment to see all of that. But the universe and source, the ancestors and whatever else, the spirit realm also took me to that particular area for their own reasons. And it's not for the perversion aspect of it all. It's just to, how can I say it's to see where the world is going. And when I tell y'all that I was so fucked up in the head after I seen what I seen, I made some content for, my social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. And I was talking about the act, and I was talking about the world, and I was talking about, the universe and how we just do her so wrong. And she provides a roof over our head, food, and some of everything else. And this is what we do. We put our sex acts, we use a projector to put our sex acts on buildings and shit like that, and then I mean just ridiculous. And I ended up crying. I'm not gonna lie, I ended up crying because I'm just like, this cannot be where the world is going. But anyway. I'm tripping because I'm just like, nobody in this motherfucking world, I don't give a fuck. We may have similar thoughts in regard to, sexual acts or, under the influence of methamphetamine, but nobody was thinking what the fuck I was thinking under the influence of methamphetamine sexual wise, aside from my motherfucking ass. The style of, the sadistic style in a way that I envision this entity fucking this woman. And I mean, I hate to say that I manifested this, but there was a reason why I was led to that particular area and seen what I seen and recorded what I recorded. Now, this is not the part that tripped me out. Now, as I'm watching this shit and I'm just looking at how fast he's fucking this girl, and this went on for a couple of days. I went back the next day. Now, I started a new job, and the funny thing is, this goes on not too far from my new place of employment. But anyway, on lunch break, I decided I'm going to go back down here to this place of, to this Circle K or whatever and see what's going on. And it was still going on. So that's another thing that I was tripping out about. Who fucks that motherfucker long nonstop? Just hardcore fucking. And that's when I started thinking, no, this got to be fake. It got to be a porn, or it has to be something. But then I'm thinking, well, no, it can't be, because you pulled up, you heard that moaning just like the motherfucking Mexicans heard that moaning, just like everybody else in the area heard that moaning. That's why people came out of the apartments, because they heard the same motherfucking thing that I heard. So I know it was real. It was going down. But anyway, when whoever was working that projector, when they started focusing on the female, I don't know what the fuck happened with her. I just know that she was conscious one minute, screaming and yelling and whatever else the case may be, and then all of a sudden she just went limp. I promise y'all, she went limp. Mouth still wide open, eyes still wide open. I don't even think she blinked. Eyes still wide open, and she just getting fucked all over the place, and literally her arms and her legs and her head are just flopping all over the motherfucking place. That's how hard and vigorous and just animalistic he is fucking this damn girl. And I'm just like, oh my God. And then there came a point where, cause I parked across the street at that apartment complex the second day that I went over there. I parked across the street at that motherfucking apartment complex where they was taking pictures at, and I had a good parking spot, and I sat there and I recorded, and there were other people that was watching. I heard this dude say fuck, because he was fucking her that much. I'm telling y'all, demonic type of fucking. We're talking about Satan. When I asked Satan to show me how he liked to fuck pussy, it was not mild. We're talking about Satan. He is not going to fuck some girl, you make love. No. He's going to wear the pussy out. And that's exactly what this dude did on the Walgreens motherfucking windows. He was wearing that motherfucking girl out to the point where she just went limp. And, she just pretty much allowed him to take advantage of her coochie. And I started questioning things. I'm like, well, damn, is she a part of sex trafficking? Is she drugged? I mean, it was like a corpse being fucked by a big ass motherfucking baseball size, horse size dick. I mean, literally the dick was picking this girl up depending on what side, depending on what position he was fucking her in. When he was standing up and he was holding her up, her back was on his chest, and he was holding her up like that. She was literally you would think that she was on the motherfucking trampoline. That's how, high. That's how high. I mean, that's how much she was bouncing all over the place. I'm telling y'all, he was fucking the shit out of this girl. And it was the same sadistic motherfucking way that I envisioned all of that shit in Vegas. That's why I was tripping out. And anyway, when I heard that dude say fuck, I'm just like, oh my God, this is beyond real. But I'm just like, my whole thing is, was that place of establishment behind all of this? Do they know what's going on? And mind y'all, when I found out what the place of establishment name is, I think it was the next file. No, it was the next day when the sun was going up or whatever. Child, when I seen the name of that motherfucking place of establishment, I'm like, this can't be happening. Walgreens, out of all places. Walgreens is a well-known motherfucking place of establishment that serves over who knows how many million people. And to see the sex acts plastered all on Walgreens windows the way that it was until the next following day, the workers were working in Walgreens. Customers were going in and out of Walgreens while this was still on their motherfucking windows. And I'm just like, oh my God. So whoever was doing this either had projected it so good to the point where it looked like they were in Walgreens fucking. That's why people kept circling Walgreens and walking past Walgreens and taking pictures and stuff like that, because it looked like they were literally in Walgreens somewhere fucking by it looked like they were back in the pharmaceutical area, and I just started thinking, I'm just like, well, why would Walgreens have that have the blinds up in the in the drive-through area? Why would they have them up about maybe 2 or 3 inches where you can peep up in there? Why would they do that? Any other time, like CVS and shit, even other Walgreens, they would have them not windows, but they would have them blinds completely down, because there's confidential information in there in regard to patients and medications and stuff like that. So, and the cops sat back there, in that particular area for a long time. Remember I told y'all that cop went behind Walgreens and sat by the drive-through area for a long motherfucking time. So I'm just like, I started questioning shit. I'm just like, no, wait a minute. If it is Walgreens workers, I knew that didn't nobody break in there, because for one, if somebody would have broke in there just to fuck, the alarms would have went off and some of everything else. So I figured if people are in Walgreens doing this, they obviously have to be workers or something, because they have access to the establishment. And I'm just like, but why would anyone risk their job because they want to fucking suck and put it all on the windows or whatever of this particular place of establishment? I'm just like, I don't see it. But I don't know. I do know that I think maybe the third day when I went by to see if anything was going on, I went to that motherfucking Walgreens and I walked my ass inside, and I'm like, I needed a closer look at what the fuck is going on. So I walked inside and I'm looking at the glass mirrors and stuff that's in there, and I'm just looking to see if anything is off key. And I get by the beverage area, and next to the beverage area is this door, and it has like one of those number padlock things on it or whatever. And then there's like this dark strip of glass window or whatever. You can't see in it. I'm pretty sure the workers can see out of it and see you, but you can't see in there. And when I started approaching that area, I got this burst of energy, kind of like that energy burst that you get before you get into a fight or something like that, or you're scared at a haunted house or something. It was that type of energy, and I'm just like, oh my God, is it back here? Is it in here? And I promise y'all, the energy that I got when I went, when I approached that damn door, I'm just like, no, I'm like, Walgreens cannot be a part of it. I'm like, Walgreens is not doing this. And anyway, I bought some eye drops, and I was standing in the eye drops section, by the pharmaceutical area, and I'm just looking at, I'm just peeping out the Walgreens workers, and it seemed like they were. It just seemed fake. They just seemed like they were programmed to act a certain way, like they were hiding something, and it just didn't seem right. But anyway, I got the eye drops, and I'm standing, I'm standing there looking at the pharmaceutical area. Then this dude walks up and he stands next to me, and he making it seem like he is looking for something when he really wasn't, and he was looking at. I felt like he was looking at, the mirrors and stuff that was in Walgreens or whatever. And cause I kept my eyes on him, because it's just like, you came back here and you just standing here next to me. You not looking for anything, and you paying attention to what I'm paying attention to. It was just a weird motherfucking feeling. But anyway, back to this girl getting fucked by this demonic. I know that the motherfucker is a human, but the way that he was doing what he was doing in regard to the sexual act, that is non-human. I have never seen a male, the best porn star, and I watch my fair share of porn. Before methamphetamine, during methamphetamine, I really don't watch it afterwards, but I watch my fair share of porn, and trust me, I have never seen a male fuck a woman the way that this man has, fucked this damn woman. And obviously he was fucking her so damn hard and so good to the point where, she just went limp and just let him take advantage of her. And anyway, like I said, her mouth was wide open, obviously, screaming in pain or whatever. And then this is another thing. They obviously were in some type of room that was, how can I say it? Not padded, but but what is it called? They were in a room where, I guess a padded room, whatever it's called. They were obviously in a room where you couldn't hear them, but when traffic died down, you could literally hear him screaming or yelling while, fucking her, and you can hear her screaming. But this is when the traffic died down and there were completely no cars on the streets, and it was just dead ass silence. You could literally hear them screaming and shit, and it sounded like it was coming from coming from Walgreens. And another thing is when I first pulled up, I promise you, I thought that it was a motherfucking owl or a bird, because that's how loud this girl was moaning. Now, my thing is, how is it that you can hear her moans from? It almost seems like they were using some type of speaker or something in order to attract people's attentions with the moans or whatever, because it was just too motherfucking loud. It was just way too loud to hear from blocks of motherfucking way. I mean, it just sounded like they were using, when you pull up at a pharmaceutical place to get your medicine, like CVS or Walgreens, and they talk on that microphone. It sounded like they were using that type of microphone or whatever. But anyway, this girl was limp, and her arms and her legs were flopping and her head was just flopping all over the motherfucker. She just looked like a corpse. But I thought about it. I'm like, I know the bitch ain't dead, because after a while, a corpse goes through rigor mortis, I think that's what it's called, where the body starts to stiffen up. So, and please, she was not dead at all. It couldn't have been a blow up doll, because even with the blow up doll, it's almost like a dead body. You have to move the parts in order to get the blow up doll or sex doll to do what you want it to do. So I knew that it wasn't a sex doll. This body was moving way too motherfucking freely. And then, while I was still parked at the apartment complex across the street from the Walgreens, I heard this girl say, she started laughing, she started giggling, and she said, she looked like a rag, and I didn't hear the rest of it, but she obviously said she looked like a rag doll, because that's what the fuck she looked like. She looked like a straight motherfucking rag doll, just getting fucked by this big ass motherfucking dick, eyes wide open, mouth just wide open, and she just looked dead. And after the whole act or whatever, I'm questioning, God, and I'm just like, why was I led here? And why is this so similar to my psychosis in Vegas? The way that he was fucking her just so sadistically and whatever. No, well, I'm not sure if sadistically is a word, but so satanic. It was just very brutal. And I'm just like, why was I led there to see this? I'm just like, and then I started questioning, is it my neighbors? And I would get this certain burst of energy, which, how coincidental is that I run into my motherfucking neighbors in Vegas, and they out here fucking and sucking and swinging. That would really put the icing on the motherfucking cake. But I got several different bursts of energies when I was asking certain questions about that whole experience. The thing that just really tripped me out, and just had me step away from social media and all of that shit, it's just the girl and the whole act in general. Just, you would think that this motherfucker was a robot or something being controlled by a remote control. I'm telling y'all, he was fucking this girl fast and hard and just stabbing the coochie with the dick. I'm just jumping in it. And no woman in their right mind would be able to take that much dick, just slam it all up in their coochie like that without being in some form of pain. That girl was in motherfucking pain. But like I said, after a while, she just went limp, and he just, literally was fucking her with this dick. The dick was just literally picking this girl up, and I'm telling y'all, she was just flopping all over the place. And the footage that I got of this, you can't see it because I was using my Galaxy Galaxy A71 at that time, and of course that phone is old, and the camera, is not going to take good pictures or video. The video is, or videos, because I took plenty of videos, it's distorted. I know what is going on in the videos, but other people don't. But there are moments in the videos where, because Walgreens has windows all around it, and when a person is using a projector to, pretty much post their sex acts, there's going to be different angles of the acts. So anyway, I got different angles of what was going on. And if you zoom in just right, you can see the girl literally being tossed all over the place. It's like a white patch area. And then, you, every now and then you will see like these little black lines or whatever. Those are the girl's arms and legs, just flopping all over the place. And it was a turn on, but it was also scary, because it's just like, who the fuck finds this attractive in regard to someone literally fucking the shit out of someone that looks like a fucking dead ass corpse? There's nothing sexy about that. And the fact that people were just literally, I won't lie. I was all up in it too. But after I left the scene and I'm driving, recording footage for my social media platforms, and I'm just thinking about everything and thinking about how this is so similar to my psychosis. And, I'm just in awe with this whole motherfucking experience. And I'm just like, I see why God or source or whatever, you guys want to refer to him as, I see why he says, not to be worldly. And, it's too much going on in the world. And the fact that perversion is being thrown in people's faces, there are children. There were families going in and out of Walgreens, and this shit was still going on in regard to, being people, this couple fucking on, and using their projector to put it on their window. This was still going on in the motherfucking broad ass daylight. People walking in with their children, and it's just like, oh my God, this is not where the world is going, where it's to the point where perversion is just smacked right in our motherfucking faces, and those that are asleep, they just don't see it. They don't see it. But those that are awake, we see it all day long. And that's the even more scary thing, that these people that are a part of all this, the masses, that are doing all of this stuff, they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about your children. They don't give the shit. They probably don't give a fuck about their own damn children, but they don't give a fuck. You know, it's sad. It's sad. It's sad to see that Satan has the world, and it's sad to see that the universe's vibrations are lowering due to people doing stupid ass shit like this. Don't get me wrong. I was turned on like a motherfucker when I first seen that shit. It came all over my damn self, but after everything was over and done with, I'm just like, okay, Source, I see why you allow me to see this bullshit. It's not because of the whole perversion thing. It's the sex is so overrated, and the way that he was fucking this girl, I'm just like, it turned me off. It just turned me the fuck off, and it just turned me off in regard to a lot of different things. And I just needed time to myself in order to reflect, in order to think, in order to figure some things out on a spiritual level in regard to my attachments to all of this. Because I promise y'all, nobody in this motherfucking world called upon Satan in a sexual manner, asked him to show. I mean, maybe they did, but I know that I am the only motherfucking person that has seen this particular style of fucking in, you know, in my psychosis or whatever. And sometimes I see it outside of psychosis, but I mainly see this entity or whatever the case may be doing whatever, you know, doing this hardcore animalistic fucking, during my, it's not fucking me up like it did when I first seen it. Cause I promise y'all, I was just jacked up. I could not do any motherfucking thing except think about what I seen. I was so obsessed with it. I kept going back to that damn Walgreens. I would park, you know, in random different places, and I would just, you know, watch the motherfucking windows to see if I can see anything else. But, you know, I haven't seen anything since then. It was tripped out. It was just tripped out. And, anyway, I played some of the videos back that I recorded, and the word Zoom is everything. Just because you don't see anything how can I say it? Just because you don't see anything when it's, how can I say it? When it's in its regular form, don't mean shit. When you zoom in, you will, the picture will paint anyway, I zoomed in on a lot of those pictures, and I literally seen faces and body parts and whatever else the case may be. And it almost seems like it showed me the inside of where these individuals are, you know, wherever they are. It almost showed me the inside of, like X-ray vision, like you can see through. Hold on one second. I have to pee real bad, you guys. Oh my God. Hold on. I hate to put y'all. Hold on. Bear with me. I don't want to stop it. Hold on. Sorry, you guys. I did not want to. Hold on one second. Okay, I didn't want to stop the I didn't want to stop the recording because I don't want to fuck anything up, because I don't want to record this shit all over again. But hold on one second. Okay, but I mean, y'all just put yourself in my shoes and, you know, just imagine something that you thought about years prior to any of this shit going on. And realistically, you're probably the only one that has that thought in your head. And to see someone literally performing what you just think is some type of sadistic fantasy or whatever the case may be, to see someone really doing this, and it didn't trip me out in a scary way, but it definitely had me looking at myself in a whole different manner. How psychic is my motherfucking ass? You know, unfortunately, it took drugs to bring those abilities to life. I wish that I would have brought those abilities to life in a whole, in a different way, like a natural way, but I didn't. Unfortunately, methamphetamine, definitely brought those powers to life. But it says a lot in regard to my manifestation powers, because I know that in my own little way, I manifested this, because this is all I would think about during psychosis, and sometimes not. I would think about this entity, fucking this female or whatever. I just know that this entity was in some pussy or coochie and fucking it in a very sadistic, animalistic, brutal type of way. And the way that they were doing it is what I'm tripping about, because it's a certain way that I visualize this person. Like I said, it's like a twerking type of thing, but it's hard to explain. It's just the style of fucking that this person or this entity is doing that this individual was spot on with. That's the thing that tripped me out. I'm just like, who in? I'm still, man. Now, I'm starting to get fucked up again, just thinking about this shit. But I'm sad for the world. I'm very sad for the world, and I do believe that is why I broke down crying after, watching this shit and allowing it to soak in. And it says a lot about people. I'm not sure if anyone else questioned, that particular act, but after it was all said and done, I could not help but to think if this person was a part of sex trafficking, if they were drugged, if they were on methamphetamine, the only stimulant that I can think of that would keep a person going that motherfucking long sexually is methamphetamine. So it's just like, what type of drugs were they on? What the fuck is going on to the point where this girl literally passed out with this big ass dick inside of her and literally getting picked up by this dick and getting slung all over the place? I'm telling y'all, her arms and her legs and shit, she looked like a motherfucking rag doll just being slung all over the motherfucking place with her eyes wide open and her mouth stretched open, screaming in motherfucking pain. It was a scary thing to see. It was a very scary thing to see, especially when he was vigorously fucking her, just picking her up with the dick and I'm just talking about slamming it in her extra motherfucking hard. I don't see how she was. Obviously, they must have done this on a couple of occasions for her to be used to that style of fucking, because it was literally some brutal ass motherfucking shit. It was beyond rape. No woman would be. Well, obviously she was able to take it, but like I said, I don't see my fair share of porn, and no, I've never seen any male porn star come close to this. And quite frankly, this motherfucker would be the best porn star. He would get a whole bunch of motherfucking money if he get into the porn industry. You fucking this girl like this, baby, he would be rich. I'm telling you. Obviously, it must have been that good to her to the point where she just fell over. I don't know, but I don't know. I just know that there's just nothing sexy about. I can't see myself penetrating someone that's just lying there looking dead. You know, I mean, that's no feedback, no nothing. What is sexy about that? I just question I just question a whole bunch of shit. And then I went through the videos again. I wanted to make sure my eyes was not deceiving me. And I asked Source. I prayed to, the spirit realm. I'm just like, is my eyes deceiving me? I wanted my eyes to be deceiving me. I did not want this to be some true shit, but my eyes are not deceiving me. This is some true shit. This literally went the fuck down. I am not the only one that witnessed this. When I upload the footage on my social media platforms, y'all will literally see people walking past Walgreens. I mean, just staring at Walgreens, camera phones and some of everything. You will see the police parked in the back of Walgreens. I mean, you will see random cars circling Walgreens. You will see this shit. Y'all will see it. It went down. I'm not sure if it went down in the Walgreens, but it went down. It went down somewhere in that motherfucking area. I can tell you that right now. But hold on one second. Where's my lighter? Oh, here we go. I don't have to work tomorrow, thank God. So I can, I can be up for a long period of time without, 12:55 time here in Arizona. I could be up without any, consequences or whatever the case may be. But hold on one second. And no, that's not methamphetamine, bitch. It's a damn joint, and I shouldn't be smoking that, but weed is not my issue. Methamphetamine is. Anyway, y'all don't have to understand where I'm coming from, but just think about, you having these visions of this particular brutal way of fucking, and to see it actually played out. Yeah, that shit was that shit tripped me out. And I'm just like, damn. I obviously I'm one powerful ass motherfucking individual when it comes to psychic abilities, because if I can manifest methamphetamine, dick, and all of that shit, then I damn sure, I can manifest a whole bunch of different motherfucking shit. I'm just trying to figure out the symbolic meaning to all of this, because I was led to that area for a motherfucking reason, and from Satan and from Source, they both led me there for a reason, and it fucked me up so bad to the point where the next day I grabbed that methamphetamine pipe. I drove to my favorite spot where I like to dump trash at, and sometimes I set stuff out there for homeless people or whatever, but I threw that pipe right up in that damn dumpster, and I haven't seen meth ever since. You would think I would be turned on by some shit like that, and I was in the beginning, but after I just seen how this girl was how her limbs was just flopping all over the place, how her head was just, I don't know any other way to describe how this girl was just being slung all over the place by this dude that was just literally raping her. That's the only word that I can think of is raping. That's exactly what he was doing, even though he wasn't. Obviously, there are a couple that has done this on several of occasions, but for her to just be limp like that without giving no type of feedback or whatever, and he just still vigorously fucking her like that, it's just like, that's taking advantage of a person. I don't know, it was just fucked up. I just know that, and it was so fucked up to the point where it definitely changed me for the better. And like I said, I'm just more feeling for the universe than anything, because, the universe does so much. She gives us natural medicine. She houses us. She gives us rain. She gives us snow. She just does everything for us. And this is what we do. in return, and I'm no better. And I think that's another reason why I was emotional, because I am I was a key contributor to this as well. Smoking methamphetamine, driving around, blowing that shit into the atmosphere, and doing all that ratchet ass shit. And I thought, I know why Source brought me to that area. It's about that word reflection. That's exactly why I was brought there to as a reflective moment. Is reflective a word? I don't care, but it was a reflection moment, and it just made me look at my own ratchet behavior. When I get under the influence of methamphetamine, not that motherfucking ratchet, but it's just it just definitely, it really had me just look at myself in my life, and it's just like, I have so much purpose and so much promise, and I'm going somewhere with myself. And if this is all that people have to offer, is using a projector to show themselves vigorously fucking or whatever, who cares? I mean, people care, don't get me wrong, but what else can you offer the world aside from a big dick going in and out? I mean, people see that all day. Well, shit, not necessarily. You don't see that all day long, but I mean, you see sexual acts and stuff like that all motherfucking day long. What else can you offer the universe and the world aside from being horny ass sex fiends? I mean. There has to be more than just that, but for some people, it's not. Hold on. Where's my lighter? I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying to light this damn J. My bad, you guys. I just had it. Hold on. Okay. I just had that damn lighter. Hold on. I guess it's not. Why is this still on? I guess it's not meant for me to smoke my damn joint. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Wait. It's in here somewhere. But anyway. But yeah. So I had to take a break from everything and get my mind right. I needed to really reevaluate my whole entire life. And what direction do I want to take it? Do I want to be a part of the lower vibration crew where anything that's low vibrational is Satan related. Anything that's highly vibrational is God related. And I see it all. We are the human beings in between this whole spiritual war and, between Satan and God. And the more that the universe's vibrations are lowered, the more that Satan is in control. And the more that the universe's vibrations are uplifted, that means, pretty much God is in control regardless of the point. But, the world is going to be Satan's, and it is Satan's. And the people that are following him, because they think that all of this shit in regard to these sex acts and all of this stuff, killing and whatever the case may be, and being greedy, and they think that that's where it's at. And I've been burnt, and it don't feel good. And to be burned for eternity, damn, the world is going to be stanking like a motherfucker, boy. Do y'all know what burnt flesh smells like? That is not a good smell. And to think of all these people that want to follow behind Satan, y'all going to be crispier than a motherfucker, boy. That's all I know. I'm just, I'm glad that I was brought to that particular area to see that. You know, I mean, even though the sex act, you know, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's one thing, but it was meant for me to see, and it was meant for me to be there. I pulled up at the right moment, at the right time, and it was all meant. And it was meant for the better, because if it wasn't, I would still have that methamphetamine pipe, and I would, you know, be probably sucking dick and doing some of everything else right about now. But that allowed me to see my life in a whole different way. And the only thing I can say is thank you, couple, for putting your satanic sex act on Walgreens windows, because it changed my life. I can't say about anybody else's life that was in that area, but it definitely changed my life for the better, because I don't want that to be my legacy. You know, we were fucking on Walgreens windows and blah. I mean, people think that's cute. I remember living in Vegas, and there was a couple that was fucking on this ride out there, and they thought that people think that's cute. You know, but I did not know that on Caribbean cruises, upside down pineapples stands for basically like a swingers type of fuck party. I did not know this until I was live yesterday, and I was talking to a few people, and it was brought up in regard to, you know, upside down pineapples and whatever else. And I'm just like, wow, oh my goodness. I'm telling you, perversion is just all over the place. And I will still say it to this day. Them MMA interviews and most of them interviews, especially with males, there is something perverted going on. All that squirming in them damn seats and shit like that, and bulges, you know, I mean, come on now. And y'all have to watch the cameraman too. The cameraman knows exactly what to do at the right moment. They be zooming in on the bulges and whatever else the case may be. They're doing in certain angles. They're doing all of that for a reason, because the dumber we are and the more asleep we are, the more that they can get away with, you know. But for people that are awake, you know, we just see things that, man, to navigate the world with spiritual eyes, you can see the demon in people, and you could just see a lot of devastation. And I just feel bad for future generations. I don't know why some of these women out here still spreading ego and getting sperm squirted up in y'all motherfucking asses, having these babies. Y'all do realize where our future is headed. You know, with Trump and taking all this power and these secret societies, these new world orders and whatever. I mean, we're nearly there. Freedoms are already being taken away. Some of everything else. I mean, you know, they want the power and they want the motherfucking control. These satanic, demonic ass motherfucking people, the rich ass motherfucking white people. You know, there may be some other minorities in there, but there's usually white folks. You know, they want all of the motherfucking power, and that is, I mean, yeah. Oh my god. Anyway, where's my lighter? I'm gonna sit here for a little bit. Oh, right here. But yeah, that's pretty much the story in regard to what happened on the 9th of November. You know, to some people it's probably like, you know, well damn, that don't seem like, you know, anything for you to, you know, back away from social media and you know, whatever else. But if you how can I say it? When you have thought about something prior to, I mean, I never thought in a million years that I would roll up on somebody that, you know, was fucking somebody the same way that I envisioned something under psychosis. To see that motherfucker, I never thought I would see that in a million years, but to actually see someone doing the same exact thing that I thought about, you know, years ago in Vegas. I mean, yeah, it definitely fucked me up. But like I said, not in a scary way. I wasn't scared about any of this shit. You know, I didn't feel like, oh, my past is coming to hunt me, whatever. I didn't feel anything like that. I was more intrigued about my own damn self. I'm just like, damn, I'm a powerful ass motherfucking bitch if I manifested this. You know, if I can manifest this, I can manifest a whole bunch of motherfucking shit. I just have to be careful in regard to what the fuck I'm manifesting. But hold on. But I just want to remain on my spiritual path, and all of that shit that I just explained to you guys is nothing but a huge distraction. Just like when I went to Gay Pride and I marched on behalf of Lambda and CMA, Crystal Meth Anonymous, and I felt out of place. I just did not feel comfortable. And it was a gay event, true enough, but I still felt uncomfortable. I felt like I just did not belong there. And I understand why, because I'm elevating into a whole new person, you know, that D-Venom that was out there doing all of that shit that I was doing, you know, when I first came on podcast and whatever the case may be. I mean, I'm elevated from that. And, you know, I'm slowly exiting out of 3D consciousness, and I'm surpassing 4D, and I'm entering into 5D. There's a lot of things that are changing about me in regard to physical, in regard to spiritual, mental, just a lot of things. And I'm going to be a whole different person when this is all said and done. And I can't wait for that transformation, because I'm sick and tired of, you know, this person that, how can I say it? I'm just sick of this person. You know, I'm just sick of it. I'm tired of associating myself with the person that likes to, you know, blow the methamphetamine pipe and rub my nipples and watch Boge interviews and suck dick and all that. I don't want to be associated with that person anymore. It's time for me to be associated with my higher self and, you know, go from there. But I'm going to end this and, more than I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. I'm not at home. I'm in my car at the park. So I know that I'm going to spend the night here. But I'm debating on if I want to eat something, because I did bring some food, or if I want to meditate, or if I want to get on podcast live. I'm not sure what I want to do, but I do know that relaxation is going to be a part of that, or whatever I decide to do. But, you know, you guys, you know, just navigate the world and be careful, because there's a lot of shit going on out here. There's a video that I watched courtesy of New Breed something, New Breed Global World or something like that. But anyway, he had a video, or has the video out, in regard to demons are hacking humans and using them against the chosen ones. And I'm paraphrasing what he was saying, but he was talking about certain portals opening up during certain times of planets aligning and whatever. Long story short, he was just talking about how these demons and stuff are entering into our world. Hold on. Okay, I got a text message. Anyway, he was talking about how these demons are entering into our world and walking amongst us, and basically just studying our ways and emulating us. And that act alone that I seen, you know, between that man and that woman, you know, being plastered all over Walgreens windows, that act alone just, you know, man, it just, too much, way too much. But you guys, when I do upload the content, I will let you all know. And if y'all decide to, you know, go on my social media platforms and check it out, you know, feel free to, because I don't want y'all to think that I'm lying about anything. I just wish that the footage would have came out just a little bit clear, and then, you know, that would definitely, you know, shit, that would tell everything. But you know, it is what it is. But anyway, I'm going to end this. and chill out. I'm going to play this over and, see what it sounds like before I upload it and go from there. Oh my God. Oh, excuse me. Okay, yeah, it's time to go. All right, you guys, y'all be good. And until my next episode, well, that's another thing. I have to give y'all some information before the 22nd. What's the date? It is, hold on. Oh, here's the. Okay, hold on one second, you guys. Okay, I'm tripping. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm tripping on my new phone. I've been trying to find this stroll down menu, and anyway, what's the date? It's not showing me. Anyway, this is for my locals, basically. There's going to be another annual turkey drive over. Oh my God, I need to go to bed. Let me rephrase all that. There's going to be another annual turkey drive or whatever at Desert Missions Food Bank or Food Pantry. I believe it's Food Bank. It's next to Desert Mountain Hospital or some shit like that. Anyway, I had an interview with them. They never hired my ass, but it's next door to them. They're going to be giving out turkeys and all type of motherfucking shit, and they suggest you bring a wagon or a grocery cart type of thing because they're going to be giving away that much stuff. I went there last year, thinking that I was going to get some items, and the line was wrapped around. Shit, maybe a whole full block, maybe 2 blocks. I'm not sure, but I just know that people were wrapped around buildings and shit trying to get inside this food pantry to get their fair share of items. So it's the 22nd. I think between 7 and I don't know. I'll find the flyer and use it as a hidden gem. And you guys take advantage of it. Go to that food pantry and get your turkey and stuff. I mean, shit, why pay for all that stuff for Thanksgiving? Some of y'all got some big ass families. So shit, who want to pay for all that motherfucking food? You go to the food pantry, get that damn turkey and whatever else. And, shit, whatever, what you don't get from the pantry, spend that little bit of money and get it. And I can't tell y'all what to do. But, anyway, let me get off here. Y'all be good. And until my next episode, happy sober living and namaste.